Hey guys, Andy here. Welcome to another video. Hope you're doing well. As you can tell by the title, this is a bit of a personal one for me, but hopefully my mistakes will help you guys out in the future. These are things that I wish I'd known the first time I bought a house, and they are still things that I am learning about, and hopefully it'll help people who are buying their first homes and people who are maybe buying second, third, fourth, however many. There's a little tips in here for everybody. So just to introduce you to the channel, we call it Inspination, and basically what we talk about is finance, we talk about business, and we talk about lifestyle. So if you're interested in any of those things, then please hit the subscribe button down below. It'd be much appreciated. And if you like this video, then yeah, give it a like. Right, so that's the boring stuff and shameless promotion over. Time to get into the reason why you're here. And so grab a notepad and pen, or however you like to take notes, if you like to take notes, and let's get into this. So point number one that I wish I knew when buying my first home was do your research. Buying a house is not a beanie baby, it's not a potted plant, it's a house. It costs quite a bit of money, so knowing what you're doing and knowing that you're making the right decision is all the more important. So buying a house can either help burn a massive hole in your pocket, or it can help you make the best decision that you will ever make in your entire life. So it really does help to do your research on it. So the things that I found very useful that I wish I'd known before I started was things like online platforms, forums, search engines, friends, family, colleagues. I also highly recommend getting a mortgage advisor, although this isn't necessary. It is very, very useful to do, particularly if you're buying your very first home, and they can steer you in the right direction in terms of mortgages and that sort of thing, but also financially how you can navigate your way through the whole process. One thing that it is worth noting about mortgage advisors though is that they do tend to get commission from certain lenders for sending you to those lenders. So if they seem very optimistic and very pushy on a certain lender, then that's probably a good indication that they're getting a good commission. So make sure you do your own due diligence in that regard and use price comparison sites and forums and that sort of thing to find out if they're kind of in the right ballpark, but they will have access to information that you as a member of the public won't, so they are useful in that instance as well. It's also worth noting to annoy estate agents with about 10,000 questions, because they do have knowledge about the property and sometimes they're not willing to give it over straight away, so just keep probing them with those questions until you wear them down and they finally give you what you actually want to know. I would also recommend buying a walkie-talkie for your lawyer or your solicitor, whoever you use for your legal advice, so they can't ghost your emails or your calls, or you could do what I did and just hire your brother. Top tip on this as well is don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no dumb questions. Ignorance is bliss, but it is also ignorance, and ignorance will cost you a lot of money. So make sure you're asking as many questions as you can, retaining as much information as you can, and writing it down as well will really help you when you come to the sticky parts of the buying a house process. Next thing you want to research is the property itself. Is it in a good area? Is it in an area that is adjacent to a good area and potentially could rise in value when you come to sell it? Because money's good, right? Are there good amenities? Are there good schools? Are there good shops? Are there good transport links? Is the neighborhood itself good? Are there lots of cars on the neighbors' drives? What's the neighborhood like? Who lives there? All of these things are things to consider when you're buying as well. Another thing to research is maintenance on the property itself. Does it have a roof? If not, that's kind of a deal breaker. Also, another thing, if you're buying a flat, then it's worth noting about a ground rent and a service charge, so make sure you've factored those fees in as well. It's a great idea to get a survey done. Most lenders will offer this as an incentive for free anyway. And with the survey, they'll check for any nasty surprises. For example, monsters under the bed. I'm just kidding, or am I? So they will check if the property is in good nick and whether it's going to fall down in the next 5 months or not. They will also check water and electrics, which are probably the most expensive things to replace on a property, and that is something that you will not see when you just walk around at a viewing. So it is definitely worth getting a survey if you're not sure about a property. At the end of the day, doing your research will save you thousands and thousands. So it is worth doing, and it's worth doing right. The second thing I wish I knew when buying my first home was I wish I knew about how important budgeting for costs was. There are loads and loads of schemes out there to help you buy your first home or a home in general, whether they're governmental or not. So definitely look for those things to see if you can save a bit of money and help you get somewhere that's a bit more valuable. There are several fees that you will need to pay. There are vendor fees, legal fees, and coffees. I kid about the coffees, but there definitely are fees that you will need to watch out for, and a mortgage advisor or a legal advisor will tell you about these and remind you of them so that you're not caught off guard. It's worth noting that some fees you will get with some properties, not others. For example, flats and apartments, you will get service charge and ground rent fees, so you need to watch out for these ones. At the end of the day, it really pays for you to do your research on these things so you don't get caught out by any unwanted fees. Number 3 that I wish I'd known is covering my back. Cover your back, and I'm not talking about physically with anything like a rucksack or anything like that. I'm talking about insurance and things like that. Buildings and contents insurance is probably the most important one that you can possibly get. For me personally, it was very important, as after 6 months of moving into my new property, there was a water leak in the downstairs toilet, and it caused flooding and damage to the whole of the ground floor. And if I had not had the insurance, then it would have cost me several thousand to get it replaced and sorted out. However, on the insurance, it only cost me the premium, which was $300. So I definitely saved money there, and I now have a more valuable property as a result. So it is definitely worth getting buildings and contents insurance if you can. Life insurance is optional, but it is not necessary. It is best to get it if you have children or spouses or people that rely on you. However, if you don't have these things, then it is not necessary, but it's a good one to have. It is good to find plumbers and electricians or general handymen. They are very useful for doing stuff around the house and helping you out with things that you probably won't know about at this point, being a new homeowner. So it is definitely worth making friends with electricians, plumbers, and handymen. If you know anyone personally that is in any of these professions, or know someone that knows someone else that is, then it is definitely worth getting in touch with them, as they will be invaluable to you. Don't wait till the disaster happens. Make sure you connect with these people, and you might even get some good rates. Now, it's worth saying as well that there are also online platforms such as TaskRabbit and Checkertrade that have tradespeople like this that you can contact, and you can quote them as well. Just make sure you read their reviews and look at their ratings so you know that they are trusted and good at what they do. Now, at the end of the day, you can only cover your back so much, but one thing's for sure: if you do not prepare at all, then prepare to fail. Number 4 on the things that I wish I knew is new is expensive, so go second hand where you can. So things like knives, forks, spoons, and toilet brushes, probably buy these things new. But things that are bigger and tend to be more expensive, try and see if you can get them second hand. Things like dining tables, comfy seating, even bed frames. If you can try and get them as cheap as possible, then it will really help you in the long run. It's also worth noting, even at this point, that it might be worth asking the seller themselves, who are selling the house or property to you, if they've got anything that they don't want that you can buy off them for a cheaper price, or add it onto the sale of the property. It really is dependent on the seller. Some sellers are good, some sellers are bad. Some sellers even take the light bulbs out of the fittings when they leave, so make sure you take your own light bulbs with you, or a torch when you go over to the property for the first time. Or you can go in the daytime, or you can stumble around in the dark. It's up to you. Another good thing that I would suggest is buying the essentials first. People tend to go for the elaborate things often first when they buy a property, but it is best to go for the essentials that you need. Those are things like beds to sleep in, and things to cook with, and also things to possibly sit in as well. And as always with things like buying things secondhand and buying things for your home in general, it always pays to do your research. And the fifth and final thing that I wish I knew is the thing that I wish I knew the most, which is make sure that the property you buy is right for you. There will be problems and mistakes throughout the entire process of buying a property. It will sometimes take longer than expected, sometimes sales won't necessarily go through, and sometimes even entire garages will be missed off purchases of properties by your brother, who is supposed to be a property lawyer. Luckily though, you were stalking your house on Google Street View and just so happened to see that there was a garage with the property. By the way, that is another great tip. You can also research your property on Google Street View and look at the area and see it that way as well. It is a good idea, as I've said, to make sure that you cover your back and make sure that you plan for any problems that may arise and that probably will arise. They may cost you money, they may not cost you money, but it's best to be sure. At the end of the day, buying a property can be a little bit of a headache. Who am I kidding? It can be quite a big headache if you let it. So that's why it is important to make sure that the property is right for you. Buying your first home is daunting and scary, but it is also necessary. Having a place that is your own is the best thing because it means that you have something that is yours. And when you make something yours, that is often what turns a house into a home. It sounded so cheesy, but it's so true. And with that being said, make sure that where you buy or what you buy is right for you and where you are. Because at the end of the day, lenders don't care, solicitors don't care, but you will care. So it is very necessary for you to think about this and think what kind of property fits your lifestyle. You know, do you have a family? Do you want to be nearer to work so you have less of a commute? Are you a newly married couple that is looking to have kids in a good area? Does it have good schools? Is it safe to play out in the street? These are sorts of things that you might want to think about when you're buying a place, because these things will be important to you. They may not be important to a lender or a lawyer, but they are important to you. So make sure you make the right decision. You're not just putting your blood, sweat and tears into finding a property, you're putting all that effort into finding a home for your future. And even if it isn't the perfect home for you or it isn't the right time, you can always make changes to it, because at the end of the day, it's yours. You can do what you want with it. Or you can do what I'm doing, which is remortgaging, renting out the property, and then starting the property portfolio. Either way, the choice is completely and utterly up to you. All you have to do is do your research. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching. If you did like this video, please give it a like and turn that grey like button blue. That would be amazing. It would also be greatly appreciated if you could hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you're interested in any other videos that I do based on finance, business and lifestyle stuff. So if you like any of those things, then it might be worth subscribing to this channel. Also, if you have any questions or concerns from any of the things that I've covered today, or any problems in general, then please put them in the comment section below and I will try my best to answer as many of them as I can and as best as I can. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you've made it this far, congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back and click the like button, because that will really help you and it will also help me. And I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of the week, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I'll see you on the flip side. Peace.